South Africa, South Africa. I need all of you to stop what you're doing right now. I don't care if you're buying, I don't care if you're preparing your lunch money or your lunch for tomorrow. I don't care if you're sitting behind a taxi driver currently running at 140 kilometers per hour through a red street light. I don't care if you're on the toilet. Actually, if you're on the toilet, then this is the perfect time to listen, because what I have for you today is exactly that kind of content. Today, we have three major stories that individually would qualify each as the most unhinged thing to happen in any normal country. But then, of course, this is South Africa. This is not a normal country. This is a country where a man will fake his own assassination, give the police a fake address, try to bribe the detective investigating him, and then walk into court and submit a meme jacket as evidence that he lives somewhere. I'm not talking about Thabo Pesta. I'm talking about Brown Mogotsi. We have a white Afrikaner man who joined the EFF, demanding that Orania be bulldozed and Afrikaners be arrested. I want you to think about that sentence for a second. It must marinate like the Sunday chicken. And then, as if the universe decided that that was not enough chaos for 1 week, the ANC issued an entire formal press release, a whole government communication document, to tell you and me that they are scared of one man named Carl Kriel, who happens to be the CEO of AfriForum, a tiny civil rights accusation. They are not scared of not fixing load shedding. They are not scared enough to fix potholes, but they are scared enough to write a whole essay about someone who's fighting for South Africans' rights. Grab something to drink. Today is going to be a lot. Let's start with none other than the Afrikaner in the EFF, Carl Niehaus. And as much as what I just said doesn't make any sense, I need to first explain to you who this is. Who is Carl Niehaus? I need to paint you a picture. Carl Niehaus was born in Zeerust to an Afrikaner family. He is a white Afrikaner man. He grew up speaking Afrikaans, probably ate vet koek on Sundays, played barefoot outside, probably has an oma somewhere who still calls the fridge, what do they call it, dirsas or something like that. I've forgotten. My Afrikaans has gotten quite bad over the years. You tell me in the comment section. Remember, there was something an oma used to call the fridge. You tell me. And then he became an apartheid activist in the 1980s, got arrested for treason in 1983. He served time in prison. He came out, became ANC spokesperson, became a fairly prominent figure in the liberation movement we remember today. Great. Good for him. Then he spent the next couple of decades being expelled from a bunch of things because he kept being caught lying about things, claiming he was broke while apparently not being broke and being very wealthy, and generally causing havoc wherever he went. The man became a fraudster of some sort. The ANC eventually kicked him out in 2022 because they said, I can't lie. And then because South Africa is the gift that keeps on giving, Carl Niehaus joined the EFF, the party that primarily exists to make white people uncomfortable. He put on the red beret, the ultimate slap in the face to his culture. He is now an EFF member of Parliament. And last week, Carl Niehaus stood up in the National Assembly and said, with his whole chest, nesifuba sonke, that Orania and Kleinfontein are, and I quote, insidious dangers to nation building. He also called them strongholds for racial segregation. He said, and I need you to hear this from the Afrikaner man himself, these enclaves are a mortal threat to the very soul of our nation and nation building. They must be eradicated. Not my words, Carl Niehaus's words. Eradicated is what he said. Bra, Carl, my lighty. Carl Niehaus, my elder, let me not call you my lighty because you're much older than me. You have more experience in your pinky than my whole being. My elder, you want Afrikaner settlements to be eradicated. This is like a chicken standing up at a braai, respectfully, and saying, actually, I think we should add more wood to the fire. And I say this with all due respect. This is like a Kaizer Chiefs supporter suggesting they should have lost more games this season. And we all know Kaizer Chiefs fell off like the past 15 years. It's the absolute turnaround. It's the betrayal. It's the Netflix original series level drama of this man's life. He himself, the way he exists, is the ultimate betrayal to his Afrikaner culture. An Afrikaner man in the EFF who wants the eradication of Orania. And then he didn't stop there. He went further. He said, no, I'll do my people better. He called for the arrest of the people involved in running these settlements. He wants people charged. Carl Niehaus wants to see one of these. He wants consequences. He wants the state to step in and physically remove these communities. Now, I am not here to debate the politics of Orania with you today. Whether you think it should exist or not, that's another story for another day. I've made a video on that, everybody. I'm not going to repeat what I said. I made a 10+ minute video on saying why I thought or didn't, you must watch, Orania should exist, right? And then this dude named Carl, standing in a red beret, demands the bulldozing of a place that probably has a Carl in it. The cognitive dissonance is Olympic level, and the irony is not lost on anyone that this same Carl Niehaus, while an ANC spokesperson, got into very serious trouble, okay, over money, over debt, over allegedly using other people's credit cards for personal expenses. He's a fraudster. So we have a man who could not manage his own finances telling a functioning, self-sufficient community called Orania that they are the danger to the nation. Orania has running water. Orania has clean streets. Orania pays its municipal bills on time. Carl Niehaus cannot say the same about his credit card history or the municipalities the EFF claims to run. But you know what, South Africa? At least he's passionate about it, right? You have to give him that. Very passionate guy. Very passionate guy. Nobody gets up in Parliament and performs outrage quite like Carl. The man is committed to the bit, even when the bit is himself. Now, I must also mention that Carl Niehaus did not pull this stunt alone in the vacuum of his own dramatic energy, because a lot of you will say I'm just attacking him alone. You know what happened? The EFF actually sponsored the whole parliamentary debate. The EFF were the ones who marched to Kleinfontein with a group of MPs. They have made this a whole campaign in itself. And predictably, the Freedom Front Plus came out swinging, inviting the Minister of Justice to a conversation about Section 235 of the Constitution, which, listen, this is the section that protects the right to cultural self-determination. The Freedom Front Plus said with remarkable restraint, considering what was said, that perhaps the minister should familiarize herself with the Constitution before trying to strip it of the meaning. The minister at the time, who was Mamologo Kubai, in response to Carl Niehaus's parliamentary question, then went on record to say that white South Africans, including Afrikaners, do not qualify for the right to self-determination because of their history as oppressors, which is a very, very bold constitutional interpretation that I am sure will hold up perfectly in any court that has ever heard Section 235. The point is, everyone got in the pool. Everyone is now splashing each other. The EFF is calling for bulldozers, now fighting everybody from Orania and Kleinfontein. Freedom Front Plus is now calling for a constitutional reading group. The minister is rewriting legal history on the fly because she doesn't know it. And Carl Niehaus is standing in the middle of all of it in a red beret, acting like he's not the one who started it, and having evidently forgotten what his own surname is. Niehaus, Afrikaans surname. It's your parliament, by the way, your taxes at work while these babies fight over the milk.